Richard Bars is pleased to present The Making of Legend, Book 1 of Cerebral Network. The Making of Legend. The stench of stale beer and lingering cigarette smoke was strong in the air. Textured maroon wallpaper might have once presented an illusion of luxury, but now stood in desperate need of replacement. Black mold along the baseboard and corners showed the building humidity controller was in equal need of attention. Apartments frequently looked and smelled like this in the lower income portions of Bagwell City. The filth was lost on Admiral Radcliff, who was focusing on finding the door marked 337. With sharply pressed uniform and shiny boots, he looked distinctly out of place. The Admiral stopped on finding his door and hammered forcefully, shaking the wall in the process. The argument raging across the hall paused briefly as the occupants checked if it was their door being assaulted. Once satisfied, their argument resumed. The Admiral banged again, this time with his foot as well.
"Open up, Krashnikov. I know you're in there."
The door opened a crack, and the Admiral pushed in without greeting or request.
"Explain yourself, Krashnikov, because I know you haven't forgotten."
He noticed a third person in the far corner. Krashnikov seized the opportunity to explain. "I now just learn. I know nothing hour before. I come fast here to fix Mariko problem." He pointed at his assistant in the corner. The Admiral took in the assistant. The man was in his mid-20s, possibly older. It was difficult to tell. The immaculately trimmed goatee, sans mustache, was shaped into twin S-shapes curling outward from the mouth. It gave him a young vibe, in a ridiculous, vain sort of way. He pointed at the suitcase.
"Open it."
"You've no authority to—"
"No authority?"
The Admiral laughed gruffly.
"Krashnikov, explain things to your—"
He waved at Mariko. Krashnikov spoke in his native tongue, to speak faster and be better understood. "Those documents you're holding are protected by authority of the Royal Secrecy Act. You'll be in prison for 40 years minimum, unless this man is willing to overlook your actions." "Why are Andrew Beaumont's records protected under royal authority? He's not royalty." Mariko snatched a picture from a nearby shelf and brandished it aggressively when the Admiral approached. "No, stop! This man's reach goes to the throne and beyond. Be afraid, Mariko. Listen to me. Put down the case, right now. You work for me, and you will listen to me. Now put it on the seat and back away." The old man sped the process by crossing the room and gently peeling the case free. Krashnikov turned to the Admiral and surrendered the case, switching languages again. "He sorry. We sorry. Forgive, please." The Admiral flipped open the case and rifled through the contents, scanning each page.
"Tell me who paid you for these records, and I'll do what I can to help."
He glanced up in time to see defiance harden on the young man's face.
"Refuse me, and I'll bury you. Tell him, Krashnikov."
"I no need tell. Mariko know our history. No data worth future, Mariko," Krashnikov answered hurriedly. There was a pregnant pause as Mariko measured his options. "Her name was Cuomo Kessler. She works in—" The Admiral grunted and snapped the case closed.
"I know where she works. I just wanted to know if you'd tell the truth. She works for me. I'm the one that initiated this whole thing."
He addressed the younger man.
"See, Mariko, your instructor has a sick obsession with all things Andrew Beaumont. With the statute of limitations for handling classified documents being 15 years, I now own Krashnikov for another 15 years. Which means, Krashnikov," he pointed at the old man, "if you even sniff after Beaumont again, you're done. Consider that carefully."
The Admiral hesitated at the door.
"A shame for you, since the only mistake was the real documents were released, instead of my intended fakes."
The door closed, and Krashnikov rounded on Mariko, gleefully rubbing his hands. "Excellent, the old fool. Go get the duplicates. Let's see what you got. You want a drink?" "No, I don't want a drink," Mariko snapped. "I want you to tell me what the Admiral meant about burying me. You said I knew your history, which is a lie." "It was nothing. When Arthur died, a family services officer brought me his son, Andrew. We played memory games for a few hours when Admiral Radcliff burst in, threatening prison and more. He held that over me for 15 years? For kidnapping? An orphan? You have got to be kidding me." Mariko followed his mentor into the small kitchen. "You had me jeopardize my career and future without doing the courtesy of telling me the variables at play? You had no right. And all for nothing. Krashnikov set his glass down hard, pointing a bony finger at the young man. Career? Future? I am your career and future. And it wasn't for nothing. It was for everything. It was for nothing. I was only able to duplicate a few documents before he arrived. Mariko pushed the small batch of records to Krashnikov's view. The old man's face became red, and he slapped Mariko hard, and then again. Downing his drink, he tossed the glass to the floor, where it shattered, and leaned against the counter, head bowed. He switched languages. Go from sight. Now. Pathetic human. Mariko didn't hesitate, but stormed from the room, slamming the door behind him so hard one of the fake security monitors in the hallway ceiling crashed to the floor. Admiral Radcliff wasn't the old fool. His mentor was the fool. Him and his crazy idea that Andrew Bamon was created by his father to hold his consciousness as a sort of immortality. I can't think about this anymore, he thought. I need a drink. And a girl.